Hey everybody, it's Michael here. Just wanted to check in. I hope you're having a really good week this week. Yeah, we just wow did our first major census activity exercise slash thingy that we just did. How about that? Wow, you were taking a look at differences in population and race, income change, and I hope you actually got a lot out of that exercise. You probably could tell as you got through that wow, some of this arithmetic really isn't that bad. It's a lot of taking percentages and things like that. Yeah, the point wasn't really to do the arithmetic, although that's a nice skill to be able to know. One of the biggest points of that exercise was to get you to understand a lot about census data and how it's used and how to find things that you're looking for. Because this is a critical place where, as a community developer, you're going to be mining data to understand what your community is facing. The census is a wonderful resource for this. If you are looking for information on anything from population to economics, education, poverty, you can always go to the Census Bureau and be able to find a wealth of different products that you can use to paint a picture with numbers of the community that you're looking at. Now, I'd like to take what we did this week and sort of relate it back to what we did in week two. Week two was interesting. We talked a bit about sustainability. Well, as we're digging further into population change, why might that directly relate to our earlier conversations about sustainability? Think about it. That's right, exactly. It's one of the three circles that we talk about when we talk about sustainability. We'll say that sustainability is sort of this nexus, right, between people, planet, and profit or economy, for example. People is a big part of that, and it's not just necessarily the local society, but actual changes in how people move about and who is moving about can really affect what's going on the ground in the community in terms of the local economy and also the local environment as well. So the more people that you have, it can really transform the environment because you might be converting a lot of land from, say, farmland into other land uses like residential housing, or if you're creating a lot of jobs and the economy's booming, that can actually bring a lot of people in that you didn't have before, and also create other impacts on the environment as well. Maybe if you now have factories, or if you have other kinds of economic activities that may have some sort of a natural impact. It's important to examine all three. Well, maybe you noticed that you had an economy that wasn't growing, actually. It was declining. Well, what happens then? Well, it's kind of hard if you've physically developed the community space to sort of just undevelop it, and when areas are abandoned and population's going down, it doesn't just automatically go back to forest or trees or farms or whatever was there before, right? You now have new issues that you have to deal with. So a lot of folks, when they think about improving their community and community development, they're automatically thinking about growth. Because as long as we're growing, we're building new houses, we're building new factories, adding new jobs, revenue keeps going up, we have more tax expenditures to work with to do things in our community. But that's not necessarily always a realistic picture of what you're going to find. In fact, as you go out into most communities, you're going to find that they're having problems with at least one of these three areas of the sustainability triangle. Maybe they're having population shift issues, where the population is either growing, shrinking, maybe it's staying the same, but it's just changing in terms of who's actually there. You can have an influx of one particular type of citizen versus another type. That can change other things as well. Maybe they're having problems with their economy, getting it kick-started. Maybe they're having so much success they don't know how to manage it properly. That's another possibility. Maybe both people and profit have impacted the planet in some way. Okay, so you see where we're headed here. Basically, as we go through this class, and you're doing any one particular segment that deals with development, it's important to automatically start to think about the other segments within this class that it also impacts. So if you're thinking about population change, first thing you want to do is think, how does that population change also affect other aspects of the community's growth, development, and daily life? It's going to be absolutely critical. And actually, if you're going to be an excellent top-rate community developer, which I know you will, that is actually what I think is the essence of what you can bring to the table in terms of really bringing an important lens, an important element of critical analysis to your work. Something that people haven't heard before, but something that people need to hear. How do we make the connections between, say, a problem or an issue and holistically the many other things that are going on in the community that may be affected by or affecting that issue? It's a more holistic way of looking at it. For example, if you're a doctor and you're going into the sick community, let's think of it as a sick patient, instead of just looking at the symptoms, maybe it's not the symptoms that are the real problem. Maybe the symptoms are being caused by a broader disease. And in order to understand what that disease is, you need to look more holistically at the entire community. Well, that's sort of where we're headed. Actually, this week we've got a great week in front of us. We're going to be talking about a little bit more about population change. And again, as we're talking about what causes population change, everything from natural growth to migration, changes in population characteristics, as we're thinking about these things, I'd also like you to be thinking very critically too about how that might impact life on the ground, because this is what we really need to talk about. It's not so much that the population is just changing. It could be that something is really causing that population change, or that population change is likely to cause effect somewhere else, certainly in the local environment and certainly in the local economy. Now, how can we manage that process? And that's what we're really getting to next week. So as we continue on with our discussions, I'd just like you to be thinking as holistically as possible, even as we dig into these really specific sub-areas. That's really all I have as a comment for you. So far, I think things are going really well. I've liked what I've seen in class discussions, and hopefully you're enjoying them as much as I am. I always do, and I'll try to jump in as much as you can. Looks like I've gotten everybody's work on the Module 3 exercise, and of course we're just going to keep on moving on. So if you have any questions for me, I'm here for you. That's what I'm here for. Just send me an email via the course email, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Next time I'll have another video for you on, probably once we get into actually doing our demographics PowerPoints. It's just a really exciting exercise. And I encourage you to think as big as you can, because big thinking is highly encouraged in this class. Really appreciate seeing you. Hope you're all having a great time. I'll talk to you soon.